Hi there, I'd like to tell you about deep diversity and agile transformation, in particular how appreciating deep diversity underpins agile transformation. There are three questions that are relevant here, and the first is, why is successful transformation so rare? The second, what does culture have to do with transformation? And the third, what is the role of the leader in this process? Well, Lumina Learning takes a fundamentally humanistic and people-orientated approach. So to answer the first question, why is success so rare? It's simply because many organizations forget to put people first. And secondly, in terms of the culture, often people start with processes and products, and they don't realize that before that can be changed, we need to look at transforming the culture. And quite simply put, the role of the leader is to shape the culture. As Edgar Schein suggested, the leader needs to read what's happening in the market, have a look at the staff and see what the culture currently is, and then have the skills to change that culture. Now, in terms of how often transformations fail, there's many statistics. The original 70% failure rate figure goes all the way back to Hammer and Champy from 1993, and we can debate over the different statistics around, but we certainly know that compared to, say, a production line for cars, the failure rate for transformation is much, much higher. If the production line of cars produced anywhere remotely close to the failure rate of transformation initiatives, we'd be deeply, deeply concerned. So, I'm going to give you three reasons why I think many transformations fail. And the first one is, it's not done in an agile way. The second one is John Boyd's dictum of people, ideas, technology is not always followed. Often technology comes first, and that's part of the problem. And the third one is around deep diversity not being truly valued by leaders and the organization. In terms of an agile approach, this is people over process. This is an approach whereby we value true collaboration and autonomy within teams. It's an approach where teams can make decisions fast and fail fast and learn. And it's an approach where we're fundamentally iterative and adaptive in our approach to change. Failing to do any of those will undermine our efforts. The second point about people, ideas, technology, or quite frankly, sometimes it's just simply the wrong way around. The technology comes first, and that's not good. And the third point around deep diversity requires a more in-depth appreciation of what diversity really is. Diversity includes gender, age, ethnicity, disability, and deep diversity goes further to look at our way of being, our personality, and our abilities. And the interesting thing here is that the deep diversity is less visible on the outside than other forms of diversity, which makes it harder to measure, harder to work with, but it's absolutely critical to transformation initiatives. So, the path to transformation is to value different personalities, different ways of being and different abilities, and to blend that with teamwork and collaboration. And to help with that, Lumina Learning has identified four key principles. The first one, which helps shape the culture, is fundamentally to help leaders, managers, teams have self-knowledge, to raise their self-awareness, whatever level of awareness they have, to increase it, their knowledge of their values and who they are. But if we stop at self-knowledge, if we just do self-awareness for the sake of self-awareness, that's often the booby prize. We do nothing with it. We have to move to the next stage where we connect with others and we value the diversity in other people. We can see and read their different ways of being. If we can do that, we're then in with a chance of having greater rapport and connection in our teams, and ultimately we can co-create results together and take our performance to a higher level. At the centre of this approach is the Lumina Spark model. I'd like to say a few words about this model now. You can see here on the screen 24 different qualities. These qualities all have a positive correlation in leaders bringing about transformation. But the question is, which of these appeal to you? Which of these do you actually demonstrate? Have a look at these now. Maybe pick two that you think, yep, that's me, I relate to that. And find one on the screen here that you think, actually, I tend to avoid it. Now, I've color-coded them based on a statistical analysis. They cluster into 8 groups of 3. So have a look if the two that that you chose are in any way close in terms of colour. And actually the way they correlate fits beautifully into a circumplex model. We've got discipline there at the bottom, being sensible and cautious up the top, being inspired. The top left there, we've got being peoply and empathetic. The top right, full of ideas and vision. In the bottom right, being candid and clear and tough. On the left, being thoughtful and reflective. And on the right hand side, being energized and sociable. And we can further look at this in terms of the polarities at work here. So at the very top, we're inspired, we seize the moment. And that's psychologically the opposite of what people do if they're disciplined. If we're disciplined, we're focused, ordered, and we hold the line and hold the focus on what we want to do. Working round here, big picture thinking, this is where individuals are full of vision, energy and ideas, and the opposite is being down to earth, sensible, practical, cautious, very much in the real world and in the here and now. Then on the far right, we have extroversion, being energized, sociable, persuading people, and on the other side, on the left hand side, we have introversion, noticing our thoughts, choosing our words carefully and listening before we speak. And down in the bottom right, we've got outcome focus, being candid and clear, bringing direction and toughness to the organisation, and of course the opposite in the top left is being empathetic, collaborative, a team player with people focus. It's very hard for any one leader to embrace all of these different qualities, which is why a leader needs to value the diversity in teams and in their organisation to bring out the best, because all of these qualities are necessary.